Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to this session of Humanity Rising as we delve into our third day of a 5-day program on self-health empowerment and how all of us under current, increasingly chaotic world conditions can maintain our inner equilibrium, strengthen our immune systems, create more calm in our lives, but also more mental and intellectual acuity, all through practices that are very ancient, free, and very easily practiced by each and every one of us. Humanity Rising has been emphasizing on inner regeneration from almost the beginning, back in the spring of 2020, when we began to broadcast in the depths of the pandemic, as a way to just support all of us to maintain our equilibrium as we navigate an increasingly complex and turbulent world. Today, we're going to be delving into inner peace through observations that will be made available to us around the tarot in motion, around using the pendulum and various health practices. And we'll get that discussion underway after we do our coherence breathing, which is something that we do every day on Humanity Rising, because it's a breathing practice that helps us in every way possible to optimize our body systems, our inner calm, and our mental acuity, all simultaneously, simply by breathing in a regulated way. And the breathing we want to commence where we'll take just 15 breaths. You'll hear a bell, and at the sound of the bell, just start to inhale for 5.5 seconds. You'll hear another bell and just exhale for 5.5 seconds, and we'll take 15 breaths, 3 minutes. And then I'll turn the program over to Deanna Rice, our convener. You'll see an art card of a 5-pointed star, and that is what the combined orbital pathways of the Earth and Venus look like as they orbit around the sun. The number of Venus in the ancient traditions was 5. And the number 5 is also the number of the goddess Aphrodite and many of the ancient goddesses. So as you breathe in to the count of 5, you're breathing in the mother. You're breathing in the sacred feminine. And that's what unites the world and contains us all. So let us breathe together in the spirit of inner peace.
Sorry, we'll start again.
Thank you, everyone. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Deanna Rice, once again, good friend and colleague who has put together not only this 5-day program, but other programs on regenerative health, and with an emphasis on practices that we can do on our own in a way that suits our schedule and our daily rhythms, but have a remarkable effect, tonifying effect on our bodies and our emotions and our minds. So Deanna, thank you so much for everything that you've done to support Humanity Rising, and I turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Jim. I'm glad to be here. Our third day. What a week. I'm so honored to have these couple practitioners that are going to open up the program. Amazing work. When I came from New York, I was exposed in a synchronistic way to Antonio and Greg here on the screen, become good friends in Marin County. I have still amazement of your work. We also have Miriam Jacobs joining us today. And both of them use this fascinating methodology to get information. Today, we're working on inner peace. And yesterday, we worked more somatically in the body. Now it's working in the universal field and the energy of our subtle energy bodies, the bioenergetic field around us, and gathering information in very fascinating ways. Antonio and Greg have something called the Self-Health Institute that works all over the world with people with all sorts of issues, emotional, abundance issues, all kinds of ways to navigate and challenge the challenges we all have in life. And they use a pendulum in a way that even the divinity community has been, how are you guys doing this? It's such a fascinating way to access information. And Miriam works a model, a somatic tarot model, using the ancient energy and universal wisdom of the tarot and utilizing it in a way that you move with the elements and all sorts of information from the cards that you pull. So she's going to join us a little bit later in the program when we're going to start out with Antonio and Greg. I'm very excited to share this amazing information with everybody, and so easy to access it. So welcome, Antonio and Greg.
Hey, thank you, Deanna. Thanks for
Thank you,
having
Deanna.
us. So
Such a
glad to
pleasure.
be here.
So
Yeah.
grateful to be here with all of you on Humanity Rising.
Beautiful.
So what we love about bodies is how connected they are. We're actually part of this universe. We're not a disconnected being who's trying to figure out how we fit in. We actually fit in intricately, and our body has this language that it's speaking all the time, and it's the language of our experience and how that experience affects us in the moment.
Mhm.
So just as we were breathing, and I love being able to start with breathing because it gives us such a connection to really where we are in the moment. So our breath is this moment. When we are able to become aware of our breath and how we feel in that moment, we're connected. That is our connection. And today we're going to talk a little bit about how we use one of these, a pendulum, to be able to connect even deeper to our body.
Yeah. And the tricky thing is, though, I mean, you guys all know we're connected, right? But sometimes, no matter how much that knowing is inside, we can get disconnected. And it's happened to us many times. And we all go through these different layers and levels of being disconnected. And our first experiences back before we even started doing this work, getting disconnected, having jobs in industry in Silicon Valley, and realizing as we're passing babies off at the airport, you know, for him to take them while I went to Europe and he went the other place, that we were doing too much and we got disconnected from our bodies without even knowing it. And it was by going through, we had some illnesses, we had some chronic issues, and then looking at this work that we love to do, talking with our bodies, looking inside, feeling inside to get that connection, we were able to work out of that disease and disconnection from our bodies that had actually, because of our adverse experiences, had created that disease and discomfort for ourselves. But working with that inner wisdom, that knowing that we all have, we were able to, get back to ourselves and get back. And then later, when we started doing this work that we loved, and then we had stuff going on in our family that was very difficult. What I'm sure you guys have experienced some of this sandwich generation, right? You have the kids on one side growing up, sometimes not always easy growing up, and the parents on the other side that are growing, the elders are getting on and they're not doing well. And sometimes those times can also create those disconnects with our brain, leading us to these bad habits, maybe of procrastination and self-doubt and forgetting that beautiful wisdom. And so having to do that connection all over again. And we love to do it with our work. It's called Core Talk. And it's a holistic therapy that works with the body's energetic systems of the meridians and the chakras, and including the mind, body, spirit. We love to call it the super consciousness. All of that Greg, says, we're all connected to the divine above and to the earth, the beautiful Mother Earth below, and being able to access that beautiful wisdom through our body, through the innate wisdom of our bodies.
So let's talk about what happens. What happens when you're in the moment and you're feeling connected, or maybe you're thinking, wow, this is great. I'm really grateful for where I am right now. And all of a sudden something comes up. You get a phone call, and all of a sudden you're in somebody else's life. And that life you feel some pull and some obligation to be able to be part of that. Or it makes you feel like all of a sudden, I'm not able to just do what's best for me. Now I have to start putting myself in a different situation where I'm important to somebody else. And it can take us out of that feeling of inner peace, because, imagine like when we say we're going to go on vacation and we're going to relax, and our intention is really to be able to find that peace again, let some of the chaos just fade away. But when we're in our day, that opportunity is something that we have to evoke. We have to actually bring it up. So let's look at how we would do that. So one of the things is to really feel into how you feel. So to become aware of what emotions are in the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that feeling so much is the way that we're experiencing what's happening in our life in that moment. So if in that moment, we're not feeling gratitude, inner peace, we're not feeling that connection with our soul purpose, all of a sudden we might start thinking, oh, I need to reach out to somebody because I have this obligation to, do whatever it is. And in the moment, all of a sudden, we're not in that feeling of inner peace. So what do we do? When we use Core Talk, we start to talk to the body. So it's really the core of what's going on, because we want to find out what is the issue that's happening that's pulling us away from being able to feel that gratitude, to be in the breath.
And I just wanted, so what Greg was talking about was really about what is your emotional setting?
Yes.
And really so many of us, and I've been guilty of this, we live our lives from the head up, from shoulders up. We're in our head, we're thinking, we're trying to work things out all the time. And often we're not relaxing into the body. And that's what so much of this beautiful breathing helps us do. And when we are able to go down into our heart space, into our power and our security, all the way down into our body, then we're able to access, oh, this is how I'm feeling. Oh, this is, sometimes I'm feeling joy and thankfulness, gratefulness. And sometimes I'm a little worried, or, I'm scared, or maybe I'm angry. And each of us have a setting, an emotional setting that is unique for us and is kind of that underlying emotional landscape of our lives. It comes from where we've been, what we've done, who we've been with, right? All of these experiences create how we are feeling moment to moment. And many times we've just been trained to kind of forget about that and deal with what's at hand, help other people, do what other people need. So this is what we're talking about, is feeling into what is that emotional setting where I live. And when you feel that and get that awareness of where you're living in all the time, like for me, for a long time, it's been kind of this fear or anxiety, lower level all the time, right? And Greg's kind of been that frustration, oh my God, it's not working again. What happened? So we all have these settings that are underneath the waves, so to speak, that are at some of our deeper selves. And when we access that, it starts coming up to talk to us. And we want to talk to that inner knowing, inner being, so that we can heal those things that it's trying to tell us have happened that has disrupted the flow in our beautiful bodies, in our immune system, and that ultimately can create that dis-ease, right? The disease, the chronic disease, the ischemic heart problems, all of these different things, the diabetes, everything that people are coming up with right now. The suicide rate is higher than it's ever been, the anxiety, overweight, all of these health issues coming up that are showing this inner disease that we really don't want to look at. It's not a fun topic, right? And so, but our bodies are so unique and beautiful and funny a lot of the times that it wants to come and tell us. So you want to talk about how we...
Yeah, I mean, the thing about, so all of these things that we talk about probably are making you feel uneasy, like, well, if all that's going on, what do I do? How do I find inner peace?
Right.
And what's important is to have tools.
Yeah.
And our body is a tool. So then if we can just access this inner wisdom, this incredible library of us, this body is us. It is what our experience has been. It has everything. It has all the experience in its memory of the tissues.
Yeah. And the deal is, right, guys, that inner peace, it's an inside job, right? There, no matter what the world is going on out there, if we are not accessing that peace within ourselves, it's not going to come. We could have the beautiful, rosy world out there, and if we don't have that peace inside of us, we're not going to feel that. And that's why it's all about creating it from inside, getting rid of whatever's blocking that beautiful energetic flow, which in itself is the peace. The flow through our body from the divine into the Mother Earth is that peace, is the flow. So one of the things that we love to do, we teach our students how to use a pendulum to do muscle testing, and that's applied kinesiology. You can do it in many ways. You can do it with muscle testing. We'll do it back and forth doing it. But what we like to do is teach our people to use a pendulum. Here's a beautiful black onyx pendulum. And we say, we use it to talk to our body. So we say, pendulum, can you be the extension cord exactly for our body? And so show me a yes pendulum. Oh, and it's changing now. See, this is going back and forth. And then show me a no pendulum. And this is talking to my body. Yep. So there's your no. And so this is talking, you're going to talk to my body, right? Yes. It says, and I love this actually, because so many times we do this all the time, and that's completely the opposite of what my pendulum usually does for yes and no.
It's a big audience.
It's a big audience, so we're going to do yes and no like that. And then what we do is we want to make sure that we're all here and we're alone. Nobody else is influencing us. So body, I'm talking to me, Antonia, right? Am I here? Yep. Am I all alone in my auric field, that beautiful energetic body that's right here? Yes. Is it okay to talk? Yes. And am I 63? Yes. There we go. I'm all here and accounted for. And every single person here in this audience can do this. If you don't have a pendulum, you can use your favorite necklace. You can use a pendant. You can use anything on a string, on a chain. Anything will work. And you ask these simple questions.
And from that point, you can really access your body's wisdom. You can ask it anything. So if you're feeling upset, you can say, body, I'm upset. Is there some emotion that's keeping me from being able to be balanced in this moment right now? Yes. Is it fear? Yes. Would it be okay to just clear the fear? Yes. Is that going down my bladder meridian, up my kidney meridian? Yes. And then I'll just do that. I'll just clear the fear down my body. So somatically, our body is this instrument of flow. And whenever an experience comes along that depletes that flow and stops the flow in our body, it creates congestion. And as we clear the congestion, we're back in the flow. So it's really a simple process. And for us, it's a matter, and we love teaching this process where we get people back in the flow so that they can feel the love, they can feel the gratitude again, and move forward in that moment, feeling balanced and ready to be full of themselves, really be passionate about what they're doing and have that inner peace.
Yeah, and I love in the chat, there's a question about not being alone in your auric field. And that's why those 4 questions that it's actually can get kind of complicated about being alone in your auric field. But Ida, the most important thing is to kind of maybe figure out who that is. And you can do that by talking to your body and then lift that person out of your body. And if it's a loved one, have them sit in that beautiful, easy chair in the corner. And this is part of what we also teach, and this is what Greg was talking about, those obligations. When we feel obligations to another person, or we feel this courting, this sticky energy with someone else, then that's a sign often that they might be getting a little too close in your auric field, and that we don't want other people in our auric field, because that influences, guess what? Our decision making, right? It influences how we react in the moment. And we want to make decisions based on only ourselves, based on only our energetic flow and what is right for you, and not what somebody else might think is right for you. So it is really important to get anybody else's energy out of your body. And it can be, like I said, a little tricky. There's shrouds and cords and all kinds of
energetic manipulations and things that really interfere with the flow. So Kurt asked, what happens if you're using your pendulum and you don't get an answer? You don't get a yes or a no. Where do you think you'd go to find a little bit of balance so that you can reconnect? You go to your breath.
Yeah.
You do some of the concentric breathing where you get that feeling going again, you reconnect, you feel yourself, you feel your first chakra, you take a breath that goes low into your belly, and then you ask again.
Yeah, part of that is getting grounded and making sure you're right here, right now, not worrying about the past or stressing about the 4 questions. I'm sorry, I was reading that. It's not stressing about the future. Being here right now is what is the most important. And yes, Heather, and this is how this beautiful work that we love to do. We actually have a whole class about answering the 4 questions and getting those over time entanglements sorted out so that you can leave maybe some of those past lives behind, maybe some of that generational trauma that happens that's passed down family lines. There's a lot of different things that we do and have experienced in our lives that continue to come back, these connections that we have with other people that we've had in past times, our soul families, things like that, that are here with us, present in our lives. And yet it's that beautiful balance of one foot in the material world right now and one foot in the mystic world of the past times and all of our spiritual self. So maintaining that balance of being here and accessing this beautiful inner wisdom and flow. And if you hear our puppy out here, that's
She's
helping us
so anxious to come in and be with us.
our foot in the material world right here. So we'll get her in a minute.
And so another kind of technique that you can use, and this is a way of being, is when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling stress, look at that and say, wow, this is showing me where I'm at. I'm so grateful that I'm aware of this and that I can actually feel what's going on. Because if you couldn't and you didn't, you'd just be in this anxious state of body. Your body would be running your life in a way that wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah.
So it's like being grateful, then that allows you to go into this spiritual mystic realm of your body, which is connected and knowing of what's best for you.
And yet there's a lot of reasons why a pendulum might not move, and it might not be, there's a lot of different ways that you can hold it. But one of the most important things is to connect not with your brain, with your pendulum. In other words, when we teach, sometimes people are like, oh, pendulum work, move, I want you to move. And it's like, that's not, I don't want to connect with your brain only. I want to connect with your body. And also about the dehydration, that's part of that groundedness feeling. If you're hungry, tired, thirsty, hangry, any of those kinds of things, it might not be the right time for the conversation with your body. So that's where you really check in. And I think we have some time to do a little bit of we would love to talk to your bodies, guys, and have a little demo of how we work. Now, we showed about how the pendulum, but we love to use each other as an extension cord. So right now I'm going to ask the questions, and Greg is going to be all of you beautiful community here, and he'll be your extension cord. So Greg, show us a yes for this beautiful community body.
There we go.
Yes, there's a yes. And Greg, show us a no for this beautiful community body.
And just when we speak, we're using all of our body, the sense of being able to hear, and that communication is then going into this whole energetic realm of energy being, yes, that's right. No, that's not right.
That's the expansion, and then a little of contraction here. And that's what we're using. Oh, so beautiful community body. Yes. Are you here?
Yes.
Are you all alone in your auric field? Is it okay if we talk? And are you, each of you, your respective ages?
Yes.
Yes. And is there something, could we, if so beautiful.
Put in the chat, how are you feeling right now? What's keeping you from having this deep inner peace? Is it anxiety? Is it fear of something? Are you upset or frustrated about something? What's going on? Just throw it in the chat.
Yeah. Put how that, or maybe what that emotional setting underneath is. Yeah, scared, scattered. Thank you.
Upset.
Yes, frustrated. Aida, we'll get that to you, sweetheart. Yes.
Threatened.
Threatened.
Irritated.
Oh, yes.
Too many words. Concerned about a diagnosis.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, worried. Yeah, so bodies, do you feel that? Is that what you are having? Yes. And can we clear that out of your beautiful etheric bodies? Yes. And do you know what the first thing is that you would like to clear? Yes. Is that fear? Yes. And is that stuck in the bladder meridian? Yes. Is that the first place you want to go? Yes. And are there cords or psychic manipulations you want to clear up first? Yes. Are there cords coming in? Would you say? No. And so that means that it is complicated, right? So maybe we could take some of those psychic manipulations out of this beautiful etheric body. Yes. Can we do that now? Yes.
So we're just going to lift those out. So take a breath and feel any of the pull from other people that I should do this, or, you know, if they want me to, all these connections that feel kind of like obligations, like somebody really wants you to be or do a certain way.
Are all of those cords or psychic manipulations out? Yes. Ah. And are you, etheric bodies, sending any cords or psychic manipulations out to other people? A little bit, so we can bring some of that energy back. Did you do that consciously? No. Reaching out for help. So we're going to bring that beautiful energy back into each body here.
So again, take a breath
Yeah.
and feel your energy coming back into your body. Anything that might be like a place marker out there that's saying, oh, I should have done this, or I wish it was this way. We're going to bring that energy back.
Take a breath in.
Kind of that anxious energy of what do I need to do in the moment, and some of the loose ends that are
And
out
this
there.
is your beautiful energy coming back into your body. You want and need this beautiful, gorgeous energy. Oh, I can feel
good.
that. Oh, good job, guys. You brought so much energy back to you. Oh. And now, are you ready to clear that bladder meridian? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So this is really the energy of the anxiety. And it shows up, it shows up as anxiety, and it's really like a deep fear of some of the things that some of you mentioned. It's kind of the wow.
And Greg's doing it on this etheric body. You can do it by touching your forehead and going down all the way down your
spine.
Go ahead, you tell him. Greg.
And then you're going to go through the pelvis, and you're going to go on the back of your legs. So just imagine and sending your energy with your breath down the back of your legs, and then all the way out to your little toes. And we're going to release that energy, anything that's been congested, and let the earth just handle all of that. And then from the bottom of your feet, the soles of your feet, up the kidney meridian, we're going to bring up this beautiful energy of being in the moment. So take a breath and feel the energy coming up your legs and all the way up the inside of your legs and through the pelvis. Now you're going to draw this beautiful presence of this moment and being able to be calm and confident that everything's as it is in this moment. And that in this moment, you're able to breathe and relax and feel that inner peace deep inside, all the way up to the rib cage, at the top of the rib cage, and take another breath.
Is that clear with the bladder meridian?
Yes.
Would you like to go down kidney?
No.
No.
Good.
Are we good? Is there fear anywhere else? No. Would you like to deal with the frustration next?
Yes.
Yes. And is that stuck in liver? Is that in gallbladder? Do you want to do gallbladder first?
Yes.
Some big anger, guys. Gallbladder is all about, it could be rage, even if we're not really accessing that rage because we've had to shove it down for so long.
Because who wants to be a rager, right?
Nobody, right? And most people aren't allowed to be a rager. Yeah. But that's where this is coming, this huge anger. And is there energy going back out that you need to draw back in? Yes. And are there psychic manipulations, cords coming in? Do you want to get those cords and energy out of you first? Yes, quite strong. So we'll take those out. Yes.
So these are actually in the chakras, and it's where you connect with people. And it's not like you're intending to have and allow them to have this negative connection with you, but it happens through the interaction with people. We start to feel obligated to be a certain way.
Yeah. Is all that energy out?
Yeah.
Now, can we bring your energy back in? Yes.
Oh, so this is this beautiful energy that we need in our bodies. And when we get kind of out there, we feel like we can't connect because we have so much out there trying to get what we want.
And need. And
So,
when we were little, we start these old patterns of maybe trying to reach out to get what you need.
but guess what? You have everything that you need,
Especially
in your body.
And now as a grown-up, you have tools. You're learning more and more tools. It's not like when we were a little baby and we didn't have resources. And when we were a child, yes. And is all that energy back in? Yes.
Now we're going to run gallbladder.
Yes.
So we're going to clear the congestion around this really frustrated anger energy that's in our body. We start at the eyes, so it goes in here. And just imagine your head clearing, and we're going to go all the way down through your body. So I'm in the head, in the shoulders, and take a breath. And feel your breath drop deep into your belly. And now we're right at the power chakra. Now we're coming down the back of the legs. Take a breath. Releasing all the frustration, this big anger, allowing it to let go. Then we're going to, from the earth again, drop this beautiful liver meridian energy, which is all about creativity. And we're going to allow it to create and have this inner peace in our body right now. Coming up the inside of the legs, feel your breath go all the way deep into the pelvis. And with your breath, draw this energy right up underneath your ribs in your power chakra. And take one more breath. And release any of that deep frustration and allow the creativity of inner peace to be a deep part of you.
So collective body, did you release all that anger and frustration? Is that anger, frustration, or fear in any other part of your body? Would you tell us? Yeah. Is there something else, any betrayal you want to, or any self-doubt, or maybe sorry for self or sorry? Yes. The sorry for the self, sorry for the situation.
Oh, I wish it was different.
Oh, why does it have to be this way? Why are they doing that to me? Yes. And is that
Anyone ever feel that?
any? Not me. I never go there. So is that what you would like to clear next? Is that stuck in the spleen meridian? Yes.
Okay.
Are there any cords or going out, coming in? Would you tell us? Yeah. So let's clear spleen.
Oh, and this is all that interruption of the flow in our body by looking at what's happening and thinking, wow, why does this keep happening to me? Why, when I'm in this situation, do they do that?
Why does this happen?
Why does this happen? We're going down the inside of the legs. I'm going to go to the
Take a
inside of the
breath.
big toe. Yeah, take a breath. We're releasing all of that
Any of
feeling.
that going to victim mentality, right? On the worst case.
We're going to come up the inside of the legs.
And breathing in that beautiful self-empowerment, that beautiful strength and calm acceptance of the way things are right now. We are in a peaceful, beautiful moment right now. Yes, and collective body. Are you feeling balanced? Are you feeling calm and peace right now? Right here, right now. Is there anything else that you need or want to clear out of the body? Do you want to do governing and central? Is there any other meridian you want? Let's do governing and central to just clear up any other loose ends here.
So this is about core issues. So you can all think about, what's the core issue? What emotion comes up when I'm not feeling inner peace? And this meridian really governs all of the energy in our body and allows us to bring that core issue into balance. Let go of any of the energy that keeps us from having what we want in this moment.
Oh,
That's good.
beautiful. It's almost making me kind of lightheaded even.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And this, okay, so the energy is flowing from the earth through each of your beautiful divine bodies, through all your chakras, the central channel, all the way out through the top of your head, that divine connection, all of you connect, collective body. Are you feeling that flow? And that is where you bring that divine inspiration, that divine peace, then into your body from the top of your head all the way through every cell, all of your DNA, every system in your body, down into Mother Earth, regenerating that beautiful energy and using that flow with your breath where you are right here, right now. And body, collective body, is there anything that will hold you back from carrying this flow throughout your day? No. Can you put a marker on this place
With the breath.
with the breath? So whenever you breathe, especially when you breathe consciously, you will remember this space, this feeling of inner peace, of inner calm, of inner knowing, of inner connection. And your breath will bring you to that place. So body, if something happens throughout the day that takes you away, you'll be able to say, I'm going to take a breath and bring me back to this place. There we go. Collective body, is there anything you want to tell this beautiful gathering? You have it.
I'm at peace.
I'm at inner peace.
Wow. I'm really feeling the heat in my heart. That is so powerful. Thank you so much. We're going to come back and talk to you a quarter after the hour after Miriam's presentation, but wonderful. Thank you so much.
Beautiful.
That was really special.
Thank you, darling.
Hey, Miriam.
Hey, hi.
Miriam Jacobs is an incredible healer. She's a polarity therapist and has synthesized multiple different methods with her art. Throughout the years of her practice, she's taught art in schools in New York City, and then has developed this amazing methodology with tarot and developed her own cards. And this method blew my mind when I first heard it. I'm a dancer at my core, and it's a somatic model for tarot. So Miriam, take it away, and I'm here to support you.
Thank you. So I started, I was always fairly sensitive and intuitive, and I picked up the tarot because it gave me some idea of like where to go. Like, is my tuition correct, or what's going on? I later started studying polarity therapy, and I realized that there's a connection. And so this is all about connecting. And what I did when I first started, when we first got on this call, is I pulled cards for everyone, and they seemed to mean a lot. So I developed this deck called Polarity Wellness Tarot. I realized that there was a connection between polarity therapy and tarot, and they're both ancient systems. And then they're presented in a way that's new. And so I wanted to take those lessons of the tarot and connect it first to polarity therapy, and then I'll get to how I connected it with movement. But first, so what I did is I developed this deck, and my deck has these a body on them and symbols on the top, and then they also have symbols similar to classic tarot. So what I did to pull cards for everyone is the first card I pulled was Antonia. And so she's the queen of pentacles, or the queen of earth. And this is in terms of us connecting. And so what she does is and it was funny because later on in her talk, she talked about the physical. So she's the physical nurturer queen who gives grounding and information. And then I pulled for Greg, I pulled the 10 of Earth. So the 10 of Earth is that ending of joyous and prosperity. It's also connected with Antonia because they're both Earth cards. And then for Diana, I pulled the Page of Water. So that's love. And that's like connecting. She's talking about connecting with her heart, and that's the way that she found to connect. And then with Jim, I pulled two cards came out. So the first one was the Queen of of Swords, and the Queen of Swords is very focused. So what he does is his job is to focus everyone and not necessarily detach from emotions, but to just keep it really clear. And then the other card that jumped out for him is the King of Fire. So that is how he's our fearless leader here. And his passion shines through in all of that. And then for me, which connects me back to Diana, was the King of Water. So that's even a more, let's everyone connect. All through this week so far, we've seen how, connect to the breath. I wanted to connect everything to the body. Antonia and Greg are talking about connecting. Yesterday's talk talked about moving and how important to that was. So I wanted to, first I'm going to point out though that, so I pulled 6 cards, and I'll get to doing the collective part after I talk, and when we focus on inner peace, and I'll have Diana pull, I'll lay out the cards, and she'll, with my hand, I'll connect with my hand, similar to how Greg and Antonia use the pendulum as a tool. But out of this, in a classic tarot deck, which this is based on, there's 78 cards. Out of those 78 cards, there are court cards. There are 16 court cards. So here, out of those 78 cards, 5 of the cards that I pulled were court cards. So those are other people. So in this case, because I'm pulling them, it really showed who those people are in this situation of us connecting to inner peace. So I found that the tarot was really, as I said before, it's really helpful in terms of like, what am I intuiting, or what's going on? Tarot at first was really used for divination and telling the future. And because it's an ancient system, what happens is that it ends up being really good to be used for asking different questions, like, what direction should I go in? What's my best approach? Or what's going on here? And so it's a system, I think, that you can use. There's some books, or I know people who are very intellectual about the symbol on certain cards and what those mean, and take it intellectually, and others who just go by their intuition of what their card means. I would say I kind of go in between that. I kind of need the intellectual stuff to ground me, and then I need the intuitive, because that's really where I personally come from. So what happened to me is I lived in New York for a long time, and I was kind of like a closet tarot card reader. And it was, I was reading cards for my friends and studying it and reading books. This was about, like, at this point, it's almost like 32 years ago or so. And then I was teaching art, and that gig was ending, and I started studying polarity therapy. And I could not believe that there was a connection between these two, that there were the elements, there were, polarity has an astrological aspect to it. The tarot has an astrological aspect. So what I was doing is I was putting those two together. So I was studying polarity, and I was putting what I learned in polarity together with the tarot. So I was making charts, and I noticed that there were all of these connections. To fast forward, when I moved to California, what I did is I found that I was pulling cards for my clients. Unlike New York, that's on a piece of granite, where you live in a place in California, for those of us who live in California, where the earth moves. And so I was finding that I was grounding people in my sessions, and I was also pulling cards, so that the stuff that was going on in their heads would clear, that they would get to express it. Sometimes what happened is the cards would reveal something that they weren't aware of. So it opened the conversation, and it also helped. I was sort of like going, well, where do these go in the body? So I was figuring this out in my head, and I realized that I needed to make a deck. And I queried the deck, and a publisher came back to me and said, we don't want to do that. We want you to write a book on tarot and the chakras. So that furthered it. Polarity has a yoga practice to it. And I was kind of connecting it to the yoga practice and how it goes to the physical body. And then I realized that it really, that we also had to move. When I moved to California, and certainly the tarot got me to California, that I started taking somatic dance classes. I've always loved to move. I love to dance. And I found that was great in getting things out, but I kind of wanted more. I wanted more from my, how can I bring the tarot into my practice? And also then how I could bring movement in. Because what I realized is that, we have to move. We have these lessons, I believe, also Greg and Antonia, and here's my pendulum, that I use. If I don't have my pendulum with me, I'll use my keys, or I'll take off my necklace and I'll use that. So that's that could be a way of grounding it and coming in your body and having a system to do this. So what I did is I started teaching classes. I started teaching classes first live, and then when the pandemic hit, doing them on Zoom. And I can put my email. I'm having a class this Saturday. If you want to come as my guest, I'll send you the link with that for Saturday. So that's kind of how it came about. And yet I still wanted some structural guidelines. And so the structural guidelines was more that, a lot of somatic dance practices, which somatic is in the body. So many of those, you express it, and that to me is wonderful. But I still wanted to either have an intention with those cards. So what Tarot in Motion does is it brings those intentions into a structure. So there's structural guidelines that I include in my Tarot in Motion book. And so there's guidelines, and we can't really do that today. There's really, to do it in this format doesn't work. Part of it is also to have a witness. Bearing witness in whatever we do is really an important part of the expression. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to go back to the question of inner peace, and I'm going to have Deanna come on, and I'm going to move our little group here out of the way. And
Thank you for pulling those in the group.
And this is what's great is that this, and again, during the pandemic, I learned how to do tarot cards on Zoom. So what I'm going to do is we can connect our hearts, Deanna, since we both had cup cards.
Right.
And I'm going to have Deanna pull 4 cards. So this is going to be a 4-card spread on why don't you specifically say it in terms of finding inner peace, or for the group?
So the group collective, we're going to pull 4 cards for the elements, and we're going to start with the fire card. And Miriam, you just start moving.
That's going to be passion and creativity and spirit. So this is the aspect of finding inner peace in that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's move this back.
Now I see them. Great.
I'm going to put my hand over it, and you tell me when to stop. Okay, so this is finding inner peace, spirit.
Right there.
That
one. Yep.
Okay, great. Okay, and we'll put these aside. I'll pull them out.
Okay.
And this
The
is
next one is air.
No, the next one is
water.
Is water. So it's
water,
right. It's cups, it's love, it's our relationships.
Okay.
It's finding inner peace with our relationships.
There.
This
back.
one?
No, behind
This
it.
one?
No, right. Not that one. The next one. That one.
Okay, and this is then our communication and our thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Air. Stop. Stop. It's right in there in that bunch. No, next to it. Right. No, further the other direction, Miriam.
Oh, okay.
Right there in that
This
bunch.
one?
It's in that bunch. Nope, keep moving those cards. Not that one. It's that one.
Okay, great. And so then this is physical and practical. So
Earth.
This is earth. So this is pentacles and earth.
That one.
This one?
Yep.
Okay, great. Nice. All right, I might have lost these.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So
Fire is sun.
the sun. So the sun card is like one of my favorite cards. It's a major arcana card, and this card talks about finding inner peace through the sun, this is like, and through our spirit. So no matter what we do spiritually, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that we're doing it. So this like avoids the question, and I'll do each card separately, but then I'll also do it together. So if I do, so let's see what that is. So that's it's a good omen. It's like in terms of that, and I think everybody this week who spoke about that, about going into our bodies in this case, because here's in the body, it's pointing to the solar plexus and going to our solar plexus and finding inner peace that way. It's also the upper chakras, which is
And the power center.
Yeah, and the power
right?
center. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
powerful.
Okay, and so then the
Water.
next card, which is about our relationships, is to always, and so Shannon saying, yes, it's joy. And this is, I'm just going over just the brief, like all of these cards, if you look in different card decks, they have different meanings to them. They're also, I'm giving you an overview on each card. So here is another spirit card, and this is this is the relationship. And so this is the page of swords, or the page of air. So the page of air is he's talking about, all pages are about learning, and about us students and being really clear. And if this is relating to our relationships, it's relating to being really connected with other people, and perhaps even like learning a new way of how you can relate to those people in our world, because finding inner peace, or we first have to find it in ourselves, and then we find it in our community. And the way we find our community is by loving the people that we're with. Air is also the air chakra relates to the heart. So it's in this placement. And this placement is just saying, connect first to the ones who are close and around you, and get those people to, connect.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the communication is the Ace of Wands. And so here's another wand. So I'm going to look at the fire, because that's also fire, and how that connects with the sun. And it's an ace, so it's a new beginning in a new way. And perhaps this is by writing. It's about getting your thoughts out and doing this in a new way, and in a new way that's really, really creative.
Beautiful.
And then the last card is another major arcana card. And so on my major arcana cards, there's always they're going to relate to a planet, and to a and also in this case that to a planet. So the planet that this relates to is Venus. So Venus,
I knew you were going to say that.
So here's another way of connecting. Like what just happened now with Deanna is there's something there that she connects to. And my question is it's like sort of like, well, what do you connect? and how do you connect? But-
It's perfect with community. This is what, I think community is going to change the world, and these cards are showing that.
And so what happens here is then it's also then because well, Venus relates to to astrological, to Taurus, and also Virgo. But in this case, I made an executive decision to just say it was Taurus, maybe because I'm Taurus, and to relate to the neck and to relate to the throat, because
Speaking,
yeah,
self-expression.
right. That's another way of relating to it. And so, and she's really practical. She's really kind. In a way, this is also relates a little bit to the Queen of Pentacles. And so she's in her guard. She's also she's loving and caring. And so this is how we connect to ourselves and to each other. So,
And the feminine principle that's rising on the planet. This is like absolutely grounding that.
and so what we have, and this is, what element then is missing here is the water element. I'm not saying it's missing because some of these, all of these cards are really, nice cards. It's not like too much in our heads or too, what I like to call challenge cards, but it's has the clarity, it has the new impetus, it has the, I think early on in the conversation, I think it was Stan brought up the whole idea of trust. So, here's some of that trust is with the sun, is just trust that what you're doing. So it's like, this is, how do you find inner peace? You meditate, you connect with others, you come to new thought patterns in really creative ways, and then you ground all of that.
Wonderful. Beautiful, Miriam. Wow. It's something to really digest and take in. Just really specific and beautiful. I know you have a film you want to share.
Yeah, let's do that. Let me get, so what this is again, I couldn't really even hypothetically go over what a lot of these cards would look like dance-wise, because that's a creative process. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little clip of 3 different dancers that okay. Oh, I see. I have to share it like this. Okay. And so what this is okay. I don't know. Can you all see the
I can see it ready to start. Right.
Okay, good. Thank you. And you'll recognize someone here.
We're watching other dancers, and you could see whatever their problem was, a restriction in their life showed up as a restriction in their body. And that's what takes this leaps and bounds above doing tarot with just words or pictures. As we are living, moving beings, and our story is within ourselves. So when you ask your body a question, you are going to get a complete answer from mind, body to spirit, because that's what we are.
What happens in the moment when you get the information of the cards, it clarifies the restriction that you're experiencing in your body until you move. Then you move through the restriction into the resolution, and the resolution continues throughout your day or sometimes days after. Sometimes you don't even realize what you did with the movement until after. But it's a process from the question that's initiated from Miriam's initial class. And then the restriction is the way the cards you pull, you get that information and you get her interpretation of how to move through it. And then you get up and move. And sometimes in the movement, other things come to you for the restriction that may not even have been present in the explanation. And it's very subconscious. That's the beauty of it.
To just throw whatever is up for me into that mix. The clip that you showed, I had no idea what was up, other than I had picked a seed card that was reflecting these dreams that I had absolutely no mental process for. I just knew I was in the throes of this emotional state that was mostly in the dark. And so the next card that came was the Two of Earth, and the two of them together moved me out into the light where I could actually make an expression. And as I was dancing that day and you were holding space, it's like I could narrate to you when I watched that clip, I can narrate to you what my process was.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you, Miriam, so much. I want to invite everybody else back in, including Jim. Let's do a little movement with our words. I was noticing your work while it was explained in that video, Antonio and Greg, about the body holding that wisdom. You know, it's a spoke in the wheel to the center, just a different spoke, you know, it's so in alignment. So lovely.
I love that, how so connected we are in so many different ways on so many different levels, that it's really about, okay, brain, body, spirit, heart, soul, realizing all those connections and moving with them.
Yeah, because the body's the vehicle. It is our transformation instrument. And if we want to transform something, it has to go from where it is to a different place, right? So when we get the movement going and the deeper understanding that Miriam brings out with her heart, and then the connection with your body through its wisdom, wow.
Yeah.
Got our vehicle moving.
Jim?
Well, go ahead, Miriam.
I just want to say one thing. And another thing is that, you know, I use my hands for the cards when I pull cards.
Mm-hmm.
There's always the pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
And so people use the pendulum also. So this is a way of collaborating our tools. Thank you, Jim.
Well, thank you, all of you, for what an amazingly diverse program, from Polarity, pendulums to the tarot. It's quite extraordinary how knitted together the universe is, and how many portals there are to accessing the wisdom of the deep interior of existence. And I just want to say how marvelous this has been. A question that comes up, I think, to both of you is, you know, the comment that you were making in the video, Miriam, for example, that any turbulence in the emotions is manifest in the body. And I'm wondering, is the reverse also true? In other words, can people have something, you know, you think of like a little 4-year-old child coming down with cancer or some debilitating disease? Does that mean there's been something in the emotional body? Or is the universe such that turbulence can come in from the etheric or invisible realms, as it were, and manifest in the somatic, and then the other way around? I mean, how do you all understand the permeability of the visible and invisible realms when it comes to disease?
I'm going to say yes and yes.
I mean, yeah, exactly, because we're so complicated, really, on so many different levels, and there's so many influences, not just nature versus nurture, but also, you know, what affects our DNA, what from the past is coming not just down our generational lines, but also all of those past lives and those experiences. And then you throw the collective unconscious on top of that. You know, so there's so many things depending on your own personal experiences throughout the ages that can create these outcomes that we're just like, why the heck did that happen to that person? You know, and there, because I am so against blaming the victim in that way. You know, people don't bring things on themselves. They don't get sick because of, you know, they're not thinking positively enough and all that kind of stuff. It's way more complicated than we can even imagine. I remember talking to a medium, and one of the things that one of my friends, unseen friends, said, as humans, you only see a pinhole, through a pinhole of what is actually there.
Right.
And so we really don't always get it, you know, so we have to just be so open and forgiving and loving for ourselves and for everyone else, because we don't really understand how all of these things influence us at the deepest levels. It's crazy.
And also the love too, that's at the deepest levels of us, and the universal wisdom of, you know, the positive and the benevolent universe we live in, or the multiverse theory, multiple universes we live in. So all of that really is holding us with great care, and all of the chaos and things that are happening on planet Earth now with the toxins we're being exposed to, the climate change, the emotional upheaval and anxiety, all of that is really human made in a way. But
Right.
Underneath it all is that implicate order of love and creative love
Yes.
that we want to get back to source too.
Yeah. And peace. And that's why that inside job of peace and creating that space for ourselves again and again and again is what will help us move through all of that complexity and the outside turmoil and such.
I love the aspect of our body is such a tool of being able to sense what's going on. So many of us are old enough to remember when we'd have the television, we'd actually turn the knob, right, to a channel. So it's really all about what channel do you want to tune into?
Right.
When you tune into the channel that connects your body with how you feel, in the wisdom of your experience, and how this vehicle is able to sense and bring us into the moment, then we have this thing that happens in a cycle called a breath, that gives us life and sustains us. So then we start to ride that wave. And once we're up on the board and we're starting to move into the flow, then we feel, wow, I am in my life in a way that is really compatible with what I want. So then it's like, is that the channel we want? Do we want the inner peace and guided passion channel?
That's why we're on the university channel.
That's what we
right
need,
now.
the inner peace and guidance channel. Well put, Greg.
That's a channel I want to go to.
Right.
That's
I'm
what you get when
dialing
you-
it in every moment.
That's what you get when you look through the pinhole into the pinhole into that channel.
Exactly right.
And to clear it, you know, and this is kind of like the polarity model. And it goes with, you know, what all of us are doing is it like doesn't matter what level it clears on. To me, if I'm facilitating a tarot in motion dance class, that's I'm going to say my healing session. If I'm giving a tarot card reading, I'm doing that. If I'm leading in with really tamasic, that's deep and dispersing touch. If that's meeting someone's energy, that's doing it. Or if it's lighting off the body. So what really matters is it's like, do we connect? And is the intention then to clear that and find inner peace?
Well, in that context, I'd like to ask Miriam, you, and then Greg and Antonio, sort of a question of your journey. Given the fact that there's so many portals Greg and Antonia first. What led you to the pendulum as a particularly powerful tool for you? How did that happen?
You know, it's interesting because when we started learning this healing practice, we'd actually do our labs would be with 3 people, and we were always using somebody else, and it really
As the muscle testing,
for
as
the
the
muscle testing, where
conduit.
we
The
were
muscle
using
testing,
each
yeah.
other.
Yeah.
But it was in that moment of realizing, wow, I can do this and ask the questions just to myself. What would I use to do it? And then it was, oh, this thing seems to work. It was really that simple.
But it was also looking at all the varieties of how to do applied kinesiology muscle testing, and like the sway test or the fingers or the pendulum. And while the fingers are very portable, you know, you can do it anytime. We did find after working with hundreds of people that was the tool that worked for most of them.
Yeah.
And we still have maybe 1% that has some issues, like if it just stays and they have trouble connecting. But it was really kind of a process of looking at it, showing it to people, having them work with it, and seeing what people could do by themselves was really the most important thing, because we didn't want them to have 2 people there. We wanted them to be able to work on themselves, heal themselves, and then be able to go out and heal their family without having to have anyone else there, just be able to access their own inner wisdom in that fun. It's a fun way really to do it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And just quickly, Antonio, how would one do the muscle testing on oneself with the hands? You mentioned through the using the fingers. How would that work? Just
Yeah,
briefly.
so there's a bunch of ways, and you can search it on the web too, but there's like this way, or, you know,
So you do this way, so you do
So
the
it's
same thing. If it's a
Yes.
yes, you have the strength to pull through, and if it's a no, you don't.
No, the other
So it's
one.
actually the other way. So
Yeah, I consider
the
it the
way
other
it-
way.
so the way go ahead.
So
The way
Go
our
ahead.
muscles work is that when the body says, yes, I affirm that that's true, it gets stronger. When it says, no, that's not quite right, the muscles relax. So when it says, yes, yes, yes,
and the same with this,
trying to say
strong.
no, no.
strong.
So the no is the muscle can't hold the other.
Right.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and that's how that whole applied kinesiology is, the strength of the muscle. You know, chiropractors, nutritionists often will use this in their office. They'll put, and this is how we started, we put food on the body. Actually, we would put vitamin C on the body, and then we would muscle test to see the strength of that person's muscles. But we realized, oh my God, well, that person gets tired. You know, they're doing their, you know, it's too much. And so then we went to 2 people, and then we said, well, how can we do it with just one person so that they can work on themselves? And then there's also, you know, with pendulums, there is the actual stone or the wood or whatever. And so that can add a certain lovely component to the clearing. And there are people across the world that, there you go, you got a metal one, exactly. There's a person we know in the Midwest who uses a bullet, right? And he uses it to find, and he's amazing to find and clear water. So you can also use the pendulum to actually do the healing, do the clearing out of the body or out of the body of water. So it's an amazing tool that we're just now, just like that little pinhole, we're just tapping into all of the amazing things that it can do.
Fantastic, fantastic. And Miriam, how did you discover tarot? What was your pathway?
You know, I just followed the path, and you know, what light was coming through that pinhole, I just trusted to follow it. So, you know, I had a friend who turned me on to the tarot, and you know, and it worked. There were a lot of things going on for me, and the same with polarity. It was like, you know what it is? It was the trust. It was like trusting that this was the right way, and that this is, like if you go over someone's body and your hand goes boom, or your pendulum goes to that card, that's the one that you go for. And if you don't like the answer, you go, okay, that's not going to work. Let's go something else. And it was just what was presented to me. Polarity therapy. There was a great teacher, John Bellevue, who I think, is he coming on tomorrow? Who's coming on tomorrow? Who was my teacher, who I ended up, knowing, working for him for a while. And, it just ended up that's what, I just followed the path and trusted. And if I didn't understand to trust that, I would ask.
Fantastic. Fantastic. It's so extraordinary. I have my little pendulum right here. I use it very often, and I was inspired by your last session to take it more seriously, and I'm re-inspired today. And I think that there's a lot of confidence. You need to build your own confidence in the particular practice that you're using, right? Because I think that has a lot to do with it, your own sense of credibility in the particular medium that you're wanting to use. And so there's a relationship between your own interior receptivity and belief, I would say, and the efficacy of the instrument, whether it's tarot or polarity or muscle testing or the pendulum. Is that the case, or does it work independently, whether you believe in it or not?
It does work independently, and the effectiveness relies on your own ability to believe in yourself, to have faith in yourself.
There you go.
Right? Because, and we have seen this so many times, is that, and you can actually, so if you say, pendulum, give me a yes. Pendulum, give me a no. We can control all of these things. It will do what you tell it to do, and you can give over that power. Okay, I really want this answer, pendulum. Please tell me what the truth is for me. I'm always like loving up my pendulum. One of our students was like, I took my pendulum out for a beer. We're like, exactly. Having that loving, you're talking to your body, right? So this is the loving relationship with yourself, and your ability to be like, okay, well, whatever it tells me is for a reason, and I'm getting this answer. And this is, I might not have asked the right question, yet there's a logical perspective with your brain in it. You have to ask, and that's the tricky part that we love to share with people, is making sure you're asking the right question.
Right.
And then really looking at those answers and saying, okay, well, what does that actually mean? Not just what I might think in this moment or the second, but really deeply, what does that mean? And what was the question I asked? So again, it gets back to that complexity of, am I giving myself faith? Am I believing in my process?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I think it's the way that you connect too. Like, some people don't have to understand. Some people who want a body work session have to study it to understand, or some people have to intellectually understand it. So if you go, how does the I got to study this. How does that work? How did the tarot work? Or why is this working for me? It depends on how you connect. And that's what, what Humanity Rising is all about, is connecting.
And we're all snowflakes.
Each of us so different from the other.
So, Deanna, do you want to tee us up for tomorrow and let us know what's going to happen on
Wow,
Thursday.
I feel like I'm on a wave. Tomorrow, Miriam mentioned the great master, John Beaulieu, is going to be in the house, the sound healing master, the polarity teacher, extraordinary, one of the most extraordinary human beings I've met in this life.
Wow, that's a strong statement.
Yeah, right.
So we will all have to tune in. Well, Antonio, Greg, Miriam, thank you so much. And I
Thank
must say,
you.
I think, Antonia, you called it. It's all about the pinhole. The pinhole, into the pinhole, into the mystery, which goes into
Holographic.
another pinhole.
And join the after chat. I hope you all can. Miriam, I'm not able to today, and Antonio and Greg. They have plenty of questions, so.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But thank you all
so much.
so much. And I think it's a serious notion, everybody, that we are in a mystery within a mystery within a mystery that none of us can fathom. And so when something like a pendulum or a tarot deck or muscle testing or dozens of other possibilities emerge to our conscious attention, it's appreciation of the mystery, I think, that is a key to the efficacy that we seek in using that particular instrument. So I wanted to appreciate this notion of the pinhole, because I think humility in the face of the mystery is a deep process of everyone's quest for knowledge, but also quest for healing.
Right.
And I think that the three of you have brought that in very powerfully today. So I just want to acknowledge it and thank you very deeply. And that brings us to a close for today, everyone. You'll see the chat, the link for the after session chat group in the chat that Stan just put in. Please join us if you can. And we'll see everybody tomorrow, same time, same station, for the 4th session of our 5-day program on self-help healing. Bye for now. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.